and everything. So see you there. Okay.
Hello, Instagram.
Well, hello,
How
everybody.
are we?
Happy Monday. We're going on later than we usually do. It's a little different time.
Unusual.
Yeah, a little unusual, but we want to come on here, answer your questions. How is everyone doing?
It is Monday.
Yeah.
You might have some things on your mind. Let us know.
How did everyone like the new podcast episode today? It was all about trending diets. Maybe one first thing we can talk about is what are some trending diets you sisters have heard? What questions do you have about trending diets? So, for example, OMAD, keto, blah, 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 what else?
Let's see. Hold on.
Apple
keto,
cider vinegar,
fasting.
all this stuff.
Yeah, OMAD is the most strange one that we talk about on the podcast today.
For sure. And we went all about it on the podcast. But if you have any questions about those specifics, please feel free to ask. One question we got so far, first question I see is, how should I deal with acne with PCOS coming from Sana?
All right. So with acne, a lot of times the cystic acne comes from overproduction of oil, which is typically triggered by high testosterone and high insulin levels. You really want to treat your insulin resistance in order to reduce that cystic acne, and you also want to reduce inflammation. So one way to do that is by going gluten and dairy free. And also taking Ovatol. I see a question here already about Ovatol. Will it help me lose weight?
Great question. Well, Ovatol helps directly with insulin resistance. So if you have insulin resistance with PCOS, which 80% of women would have, it can definitely help with symptoms like weight gain or losing or difficulty losing weight, as well as ovulation, period regularity, many things that are related to insulin resistance. Saw some questions about diets early on. Apple cider vinegar. So we talked about apple cider vinegar. It's one of those trendy things. Like apple cider vinegar can help. It can help boost metabolism. There are studies showing it can help with lowering inflammation, helping with insulin resistance, but it's not a game changer. It's not something that gets really down to the root cause, and it's more of a supplement.
Yeah. If you're still eating foods that are inflammatory, then you're going to notice that just taking apple cider vinegar isn't going to completely change anything or be this like massive, amazing transformation for PCOS.
Yeah.
Trends don't really mean that it's like a bad thing. Trends don't mean that you shouldn't do it and it's just like popular now and not popular tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sometimes, it's something that might work for you. So I say give it a try, see if it works for you.
Yeah. And another one was about intermittent fasting. So we talked about that as well. So intermittent fasting, for those that don't know, it basically relies around fasting for a specific amount of time, meaning you're not eating for a certain amount of time. The beginning or like the simplest way is a 12-hour fast. It's basically you don't eat, or you stop eating at 7 p.m. and you don't eat until 7 a.m., something like that. And we found that to be the most helpful. When you go too much, like 14, 16, it can be too restrictive. It can impact insulin resistance. So again, we talk about that all about, what's it called? The podcast. What is the science behind the no gluten, no dairy recommendation from you guys? Well, we're not like, no gluten, no dairy. That's not how we are.
Because I'm just kidding.
No, but we recommend cutting it out for 30 days to see if it might help you, because we've seen amazing results from other sisters going gluten dairy free, as well as taurine, as well as all the research that's been put into the books. For example, PCOS, SOS, 8 steps to reverse PCOS, so much more. I'll let Tanya add on to this.
There's so many books that mention this as one part of their protocol in conjunction with other things, of course. The answer to PCOS isn't just cutting out gluten and dairy, but it's great, like Sirak said, to try it for at least 30 days and see if it works for you, because gluten can be really inflammatory and dairy can be really harmful for your insulin levels. And as a result, it can make your inflammation, insulin resistance, stress hormones, thyroid issues even worse.
Mm-hmm.
So cutting out gluten and dairy can give you an edge in fighting that. Now, if you want me to recite some research, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, let us know. Do you guys want some research studies cited?
I have a list.
All right, let me go back a little bit, make sure we got all your questions about the different diets. Oh, that's not nice.
I didn't see it.
Okay, hold on. What? Oh, another low carb. My doctor told me to do low carb to help with my high insulin levels. I am really struggling with being hungry constantly. I'm also gluten, dairy free, and take Ovatol. Any advice?
Yes. I'll take it from here. So, okay. So if you're cutting carbs and you're miserable, then it's probably not a good idea because you don't want to feel restricted or strained when you're doing something for your PCOS. That's only going to pump stress hormones and make your life miserable, and you're not going to see the results you deserve, right? So going gluten-free, great start. Taking Ovatol, great for your insulin resistance. Slowly lowering your carbs might be a better idea to see where you fall and what the right carbohydrate range for you is. You know, everyone is different. For some people, it's 150 grams. For some people, it's 100 grams. For me, it's 100, 120 grams, right?
Yeah.
So you would only know by tracking on a meal tracker, slowly lowering it day by day, and just seeing where you fall, where you feel really good.
Yeah. And there's a question, perfect question actually, going along with what Tanya was talking about. Do you have a meal plan, a good and bad food list? We did Tanya did a little bit of a grocery haul this morning, so you can take a look at that. But we do have a full meal plan, a 4-week meal plan, basically for breakfast, lunch, dinner. For a whole 4 weeks, we show you step-by-step videos on how to make those meals. That's available on PCOSweightloss.org. But before you go there, we have a special release coming out in a couple of weeks. We're going to release our meal plan and workout plan with special exclusive bonuses that you can only receive in that week. So it's going to include a free month in the membership. It's going to include
live workouts with us, live cook-alongs with us.
Yeah.
We're choosing 20 sisters to win free Ovatol when you enroll.
Yeah.
Lots of fun things happening. I mean, if you ever wanted a personal trainer or you wanted someone to just tell you what to eat and how to eat it and where, what time, how to meal prep, what to order on your Amazon grocery list. We have created that for you for 4 weeks, because 4 weeks is typically how long it takes to create a habit. And we want you to create a habit for yourself. Of course, you have access to the course forever, but I'm just saying 4 weeks is a great period of time to try something that you can stick to.
Absolutely. I feel so bloated all the time, says Halima. Well, that's actually one of the PCOS symptoms that can be related to inflammation, as well as eating gluten. So, want to talk about some of the gluten and its impact on bloating and how like those symptoms can be related.
So oftentimes when we have gluten,
close this.
Where is he going?
Something close this.
Oftentimes when we have gluten, our body releases, not oftentimes, every time we have gluten, our body releases a protein called zonulin. And zonulin loosens up the tight junctions of your stomach lining, loosens it up so that the gliadin protein in gluten, in wheat, gets through and into your bloodstream, causing chronic inflammation. And so when you have chronic inflammation, this typically causes issues with insulin resistance, making your cells numb to the hormone insulin. It also makes you pump stress hormones. And it also, this situation that happens will also make you feel bloated after every single meal. And now some people don't have as strong of a reaction, but some people do. And their zonulin levels are high, their tight junctions are loosening up, and they're causing bloating, inflammation, adrenal fatigue, insulin resistance, a plethora of PCOS symptoms to happen as a result. So there's so many reasons for PCOS and bloating. That's not the only one. I mean, you could possibly not be making enough progesterone, and that causes bloating and irritability as well. Typically it's related to food sensitivity. So I would cut out gluten and dairy for at least 30 days to see how you feel.
Yes. Recommendations for slow weighted workouts. Great question, sister. So for those wondering what slow weighted workouts are, slow weighted workouts basically incorporate weight training, but done in a slow fashion with light weights to engage and build lean muscle. So when you're doing slow weighted workouts, imagine you're doing squats, but when you're doing the squat, as you're going down, you're coming down slow. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, really engaging those legs, and then getting back up normal speed. Now, when you're coming down, you're basically breathing in. And then when you're going back up, you're breathing out. These are some of the methods. These are basically some of how we do the slow weighted workouts. And the reason we love doing slow weighted workouts, it really helps with PCOS symptoms on all different aspects. One, it helps with insulin resistance, because when you help build muscle in the body, it helps your body become more insulin sensitive. Your body literally has more storage for glucose. Second is metabolism. Studies show that when you increase lean muscle in the body, your metabolism will permanently increase as a result, as long as you keep that muscle. Third is cortisol. So by breathing, by going slow, we're helping to keep the cortisol levels down, which can impact your circadian rhythm directly. So those are all different. Basically, those are all the different ways we like to do that.
Awesome.
I've heard about. Oh, sorry.
I've heard about different types of PCOS. How do I know which type I have? We have a fun quiz you can take.
Yeah.
In the highlight called PCOS
quiz.
Kids.
Yeah, I think quiz. Yeah, there's a quiz. Yeah.
Quiz.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a fun quiz, of course, but you can also take a lab test and see for sure what type of PCOS you have, what is driving your PCOS symptoms. And we also have a link for that in our highlight called Lab Kit.
Yeah. Facial hair, how to get rid of it? Oh, this is a great question. I'm sure a lot of sisters have questions related to this. Facial hair. Mm-hmm. So I'll talk about the root cause of this. In many cases, and Tanya can talk about some ways to help resolve it. So for a lot of sisters with hair loss or even facial hair, the reason, or one of the underlying reasons, can be insulin resistance. So insulin resistance, the reason why that's one of the underlying causes is that can lead to your body producing more testosterone. So when you have more testosterone, that can result in, growing facial hair or losing hair from the scalp. Now, the second thing is, the second impact insulin resistance has is it forces your body to produce, or it can force your body to produce less of sex hormone binding globulin. Sex hormone binding globulin. So what's globulin? Globulin acts like a sponge to basically clean up the excess testosterone in the body, which helps to keep the testosterone ratio in balance. So when you have insulin resistance, one, you have elevated testosterone, and second, you can have lower globulin, and that can basically lead to facial hair loss, things of that nature. So how do we resolve it?
How do we resolve it? We manage our insulin resistance and our inflammation so that our testosterone levels remain low and don't trigger the hair. Because what happens is the light hair on our face converts to dark hair, because that DHT gets in there, gathers around the hair follicle, and causes it to change. It also causes the oil gland next to your hair follicle to overproduce oil and cause cystic acne. So that's pretty much what's happening when you have facial hair acne with PCOS. You can go to laser. Laser is very helpful. It can last if you do the changes for your diet and lifestyle. So I do suggest making those changes first or while you go to laser. And then eventually the laser will last. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, if you just do laser and not change anything else, you're going to keep going to laser every 6 weeks.
Yeah. I am Kel77 says, first time catching you guys live. Woohoo, loving your content. Well, I am Kel. You are today's first giveaway winner. We will be sending you, what should we do? Membership. We will give you 1 month free in the sisterhood. Sorry, so if you're new, like I am Kel, and you're wondering what just happened. So every single time we go live, we do a giveaway. So the giveaway is sometimes Ovatol, sometimes it's a free month in the membership, sometimes it's something else, the course, what have you. So today we will be giving away 1 month free in the membership to I am Kel77. So congrats. And anyone, by the way, whenever we go live, you can have a chance to win. We just pick a random person usually. All right. Yeah.
I always like to ask this. If you've gone gluten and dairy free, please let us know. We would love to see your message here in the chat, and we'll request to go live with you, or you request to go live with us. We want to hear how you're doing, if you've lost weight, what your experience has been.
That'd be great.
Let us know.
That'd be great. So there was a question about Ovatol and when to take it. So real quick, Ovatol, for those wondering what it is, first of all, Ovatol is a natural supplement. It's an inositol supplement that we like instead of metformin. I mean, it's completely up to you. If you're on metformin and it's working for you, that's great. However, according to research and according to the latest research, inositol supplements are just as effective as metformin. However, they have 5 times less side effects compared to metformin. So, with that being said, what does Ovatol do? It helps with insulin resistance. So, if you have insulin resistance, Ovatol may be a great supplement for you. And if you're looking to order, if you go to our highlights section, there's something called Ovatol. You'll see all the testimonials, and then you can use our 15% off code to get 15% off. So Ovatol helps with the root issue of insulin resistance and can help with ovulation, period regularity, facial hair loss, things of all that nature related to insulin resistance. All right.
The Mindful Librarian says also started Ovatol because of you guys, gluten and dairy free.
Yay.
Very exciting. Let us know how your experience is and what symptoms get better.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Someone says metformin. I had terrible reactions.
Yeah. So a lot of people have terrible side effects with metformin, like diarrhea, like headaches, bloating, all these like crazy side effects, which is one of the reasons why we don't prefer it. Of course, if it's working for you, that's great. Keep at it.
Consult
this is just something.
doctor.
Yeah, this is something to consider. Something you can take to your doctor and ask them about.
If you haven't seen Sirak's TikTok video about metformin,
Oh yeah,
head over to our Reels.
Yeah.
Not TikTok, but the Reels here on Instagram.
Yeah. Oh, and
It's very
Ovatol,
funny.
you take it once in the morning with the meal, and then again at dinner with the meal. So you take it twice, one with breakfast and one with dinner. There was a question coming about will Ovatol have the same effects of if you don't go gluten dairy free? Well, with Ovatol, you want to make sure you're also focusing on the diet. I mean, whatever you find works for you. We like gluten dairy free. That's our recommendation to anyone who's trying. But basically, if you need to first find a diet that works for you when you're taking Ovatol to get the best benefits.
That's true. You can't out-supplement a bad diet.
Yeah.
So if you're just eating whatever and it's triggering all these PCOS symptoms, it doesn't matter like how much Ovatol you take. It's just going to come back, or it's just going to sustain and not get better. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to get worse, but it's not going to get better. It's just going to be the same.
Look at Nikki. She says, my doctor approved Ovatol over metformin for me. Amazing.
How great.
That's great. That's great. Love hearing that.
You don't need a prescription for Ovatol. I saw that question.
There was a question about fruit. Very, very popular topic. Fruit. Can you eat fruit with PCOS? And the question is?
Yes.
Yes. Fruit is not bad for you. There's just some things to be aware of when it comes to fruit.
Yes, it would be a major disservice if I said you could have all the fruit in the world, because fruit has sugar in it. And what we want to do is maintain balance of our blood sugar and make sure that it's not on some type of roller coaster. And sometimes when we have insulin resistance, we have really bad cravings and we reach for something healthy like fruit to mitigate those cravings. But in fact, again, fruit is sugar and it's not going to just mitigate your cravings. It might even make it worse. So when you eat fruit, you want to pair it with like a nut butter or something, almond butter, peanut butter, and banana. You also want to make sure that you're not having too much. Like a big bowl of fruit might be too much for you. Personally, I remember snacking on like 4 different fruits as a snack when I had PCOS, and it was so bad for my blood sugar, unhelpful. I still had cravings. I was still hungry afterwards. So what you want to do is make sure that when you choose the fruit, you just have one fruit, especially in the beginning when you're managing your insulin resistance, one fruit paired with some nuts, maybe some, what else do you pair fruit with, you guys?
Peanut butter, almond butter, things like that. Like basically,
other than nuts, is there anything?
Like I would say things that generally have like protein, healthy fats.
Prosciutto and peaches, my friends.
There you go.
You don't know bougie until you've had prosciutto and peaches.
Question about, there's a question about eggs. A lot, actually. Eggs.
Well, some people are sensitive, some people aren't.
Yeah.
You know, I suggest gluten and dairy free first. If you want, you can cut out eggs and see if that helps too. I mean,
Yeah.
so many different things you could be sensitive to.
Yeah, I think eggs is a very specific thing that maybe like a smaller population could be sensitive to, because eggs have so many benefits. You know, they have protein, they have healthy fats. There's a lot of healthy fatty acids found in eggs. So it's something that you might want to take a food sensitivity test to see if eggs are something that you may be sensitive to.
Or just cut it out.
Yeah,
if
cut
you
it
don't wanna
out.
take
Yeah,
the test and
yeah, you can cut it out and see how it is.
Yeah.
Soy products. So soy, I think just moderation really, because just if you have too much, it can impact estrogen levels. So just moderation. Yeah.
Right.
There's nothing really.
Some people aren't sensitive to soy and it doesn't impact their estrogen, and some people are. It's so tricky to know this one. So I just say have it moderately.
Yeah. Fancy Plants from YouTube says, I've learned so much from you two. I'm loving the workouts. I'm curious how you approach alcohol, assuming it's best to limit. But should we be avoiding it entirely? Oh, great question about alcohol. So alcohol, I don't think we wouldn't say you have to avoid it entirely. Again, just like fruit, you want to be aware of the sugar that's involved with drinking alcohol, as well as the impact it has on your liver.
That's right. With PCOS, where our liver is already in struggle city, like I say all the time, and we don't want to make that worse. So if you're struggling with things like sleep and you drink some wine every night, not going to be very helpful for your PCOS.
Yeah.
It's going to impact the way that you sleep, going to make you get less REM sleep, make you wake up cranky, going to disturb your blood sugar control during your sleep. So not ideal.
Yeah. All right.
I cut out coffee. I drink mud water.
Oh, that company. I always see that commercial on YouTube where the guy's like, I drink mud or something. It's like this surfer guy every time, and he's always like, I drink mud. And then you're like, what? And then it's just like tie you
and
into
it looks like mud.
Yeah, but I think it's like an alternative to coffee kind of a thing. But that's great cutting out. I mean, look, we don't want to be like, cut this out, cut that out. We're just helping sisters be aware of some of the impacts that certain things have. And caffeine, it can increase cortisol levels. So for example, maybe you're drinking 1-2 cups in a row and you feel like a panic attack. Maybe you're getting like jittery. That can be a result of what's it called? Caffeine. So if you feel that way, one thing you can try is to basically limit caffeine, see if it helps you feel better. Oh, look who's here. Lavender Podcast.
We are going to be on her podcast Wednesday.
Yeah. So anyone who wants to hear us on her podcast, please go ahead and follow the Lavender Fix podcast. We talked all about PCOS there, and you can hear our episode. I think it's going to be released Wednesday. Yeah.
Let's introduce ourselves. I think that we didn't do that.
I know. So somebody said, is this your boyfriend?
This is my husband.
Yes.
And yes, so how should you go first?
Well, I'm going first. All right. Well, I am the PCOS personal trainer, and we help. I mean, I don't know how to introduce. That's my introduction. I'm the PCOS personal trainer.
I want to introduce you, and you introduce me.
Okay, you introduce me. Go ahead.
Sirak is the PCOS personal trainer. He has transformed my PCOS weight loss journey significantly. When we met, I did swipe right on Tinder. That is how we met. And one of our dates, not the first one, but a few dates later, we went to the gym. Yeah. And Sirak showed me how to lift weights without stressing myself out. Mm-hmm. You know, first of all, I was intimidated by the weight section. Second of all, I thought that I had to be running around in between sets and keeping my heart rate up in order to get a workout in. And he showed me how slower weighted workouts without the panting and the out of breathness can be very beneficial. I was sore the next day. I saw definition. I saw my body changing. And then I said, you know what? Marry me. Just kidding. No, but not really. I'm actually not kidding.
So that was our process, like basically discovering, what was working for Tali, what was working for a lot of people.
Tell them about our first date. When I said I was gluten and dairy free.
Well, Tali told me she's gluten and dairy free, and it piqued my interest because at the time I was really into like the research behind going gluten free. I mean, it's not really about not specific to PCOS, but it was something I was always interested in. But anyways, Talia, she's a PCOS dietitian. You know, she had PCOS herself about 10 years ago. Now I'm introducing you. So Talia had PCOS about 10 years ago, and she went through a lot of difficulties. You know, she was told to just lose weight. She was told to take birth control, all these things. And for years, she struggled and gained weight uncontrollably. So what ended up happening was she's like, forget this. She went to a naturopathic doctor. She went to a gynecologist specializing in PCOS. She looked for help, and she was able to find an approach recommended by doctors as well as books, which is going gluten dairy free to help with the inflammation, help with the insulin resistance. And basically, she was able to lose 30 pounds in that first year alone, and basically transform her body to help her reverse her symptoms. So, you know, she still has PCOS, but it's something that she's able to manage without, you know, the symptoms popping up all the time. So I think that's your introduction.
Yes, it is. I'm a registered dietitian. I don't know if you already said that.
Yeah, registered dietitian.
On our first date, I told him I was gluten and dairy free. And he told me that he already eats gluten and dairy free, pretty much.
That's right.
Not 100%, but pretty much. He was already eating gluten-free bread. So it was a great match.
Yeah, it was. It was a good match. I'm not going to lie. I guess it worked out, now that we're married. But anyways.
You married me for my food, didn't you?
I married you for the gluten.
The gluten-free sandwiches.
So, okay. Yeah, that's our little bit of introduction for anyone that's new to our page. And yeah, I think...
what has gluten in it? Well, if you're planning on going gluten-free, the first thing to do is swap out the simple things. So that's your bread, your pasta. Some grains that have gluten in it is like couscous, farro, that has gluten in it. So you want to swap it out maybe for quinoa, wild rice, amaranth, something like that. Those are super nutritious. And yeah, potatoes are gluten-free. You know, it can be very simple to be gluten-free.
Yeah, exactly. All right. And honestly, one thing too to consider when you're going gluten dairy free is to think about naturally occurring foods that are gluten dairy free. Like, we avoid the processed foods. Of course, they're okay to have as snacks here and there, you know, but for the most of the time, like, we don't really go for the processed foods because they have a lot of additives, you know, different starches, things like that. So if you're going gluten dairy free, just focus on the naturally occurring foods. For example, like rice, potatoes, meats, proteins, like vegetables, things that are naturally gluten dairy free. You don't have to worry about pastas and things like that. You can like focus. You can like add those things later once you have the fundamentals like all good for yourself.
That's right.
All right.
Okay.
I think we've been here for a minute. You know what? We want to give another giveaway to actually the Mindful Librarian, because she was sending us a lot of positive messages throughout this live. So, Mindful Librarian, we want to give you 3 months supply of Ovatol. Thank you for all your positive messages throughout the live. We really appreciate it, as well as everybody else. And again, if you're new, we pick a giveaway winner, sometimes 1, sometimes 2, sometimes 3, during every live. So just make sure to turn on your notifications for our lives or for our posts. So when we go live, you'll be notified, you'll be able to join, and you'll be in line to win a giveaway. So that's right. And if you want to listen to more talks like this, just please go ahead and listen to our podcast. It's the link in bio. All about today's podcast episode is all about trending diets. So if you want to hear all about that, just go to link in bio right after this.
Thanks for tuning in, sisters. I see Sister Strong is here. She's also part of the sisterhood.
Yes. Amazing.
Awesome. Talk to you soon, ladies.
Everyone, take care. Love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.